how would you solve firearm problems if you were president? I would first say there is no solution to firearm issues. And it's not because, firearms are the problem, it's people. People are scared. People are, act on impulsive. People don't think before they act a lot of times. I've done it. We have all done it. I think there's very few people that, handle every situation perfectly. And I think that's what exacerbates firearms in a lot of issues that Democrats would have. And justifiably so if the firearms did not exist at all. If we all still fought with swords, we would never, have mass, attacks and taken life from these incidents that involve firearm use. That being said, it's Second Amendment right, and everyone deserves, their Second Amendment right. Could things be rewritten? Of course they can. Nothing's set in stone. But as far as it goes, Second Amendment says right to bear arms, right to, have a firearm in the year of 2025 and forward. And I think the big problem here, which someone, did comment on my first video about firearms and the issues with that, which I totally agree with everything they said, is it's people. You boil it down, it's the people are the problem. Again, whether they act on impulse, whether they choose to do this thing over time, like attack or try to take life with a firearm, none of it's okay. None of it should be supported. But this is where obviously Democrats and Republicans would need to come together. Republicans speak their side, Democrats speak their side. President should be in the middle, mediating the two. It should be, okay, well, again, facts. Second Amendment says right to bear arms. Democrats, facts. Firearms are the reason why a lot of people, loss of life. Let's be fair. And going from there, you then write and create whatever format together to understand and develop an actual process or means to combat the issues. Democrats don't want anyone to have guns. According to the Second Amendment, that's not okay. Republicans want everyone to have guns. That honestly should not be the case. And what I would do, number one, is if you are in the military, the U.S. military, before you can do anything, deploy, be trusted with firearms, weapons, what have you, you have to have a mental and physical health evaluation. Physical is obvious. You don't want people to, be hurt or broken in the field or whatever deployment, and then they are a hindrance or of use. That's just, it's fact. Mental, because you don't want someone to go off, especially when you're giving everyone guns and you're, say, in a FOB in, the Middle East or whatever duty station you're at, and you're there for a year, last thing you need is someone going crazy with a firearm, even though you're supposed to trust them, especially as your ally. So I would think something that, Democrats could push for, and I don't see a problem with, people get mental and physical health evaluations. And that goes to say, think about it for Republican side. Republicans a lot of times say, if the government has it, we should have it. Okay, if a fully automatic M4 or M16, burst fire M16, but let's say M4, just keep it simple, and a civilian wants it. Okay, you have to go through a mental health evaluation. Why? Well, because we don't know what you're thinking. And military members go through those many times. They go through them sometimes 2 times a year, sometimes before the pre-deployment and post-deployment. Whenever they go to a new duty station, whenever they check in with a new doctor, it happens all the time. And I think that is a fair assessment of the situation. That's just one piece of it. That won't fix everything, obviously, because there is no fix to this. Because it's 2 sides that want something totally different that are very opposite ends of the spectrum. But providing a mental health evaluation for people who want to acquire firearms. And we do professional stuff. There's nothing wrong that you can still acquire that firearm, but you do need to receive a mental health assessment. I think that would be fair. Again, military has to do it before they get to send an 18-year-old to deploy to the Middle East or whatever country with a gun. What's wrong with having civilians do mental health evaluation? And at the same time, I don't want, to remove firearms. I think they're great. I think they're cool. I think they, in a, again, safe environment, be utilized interestingly. And then another thing for the side of the Republicans, firearms are a defensive but also an offensive measure. Let's be honest. When people say it's a defensive tool, it is and it isn't. Because at the same time, it can be used as an offensive tool. If the first shooter is doing an offensive thing with a firearm, actively choosing to pick up a firearm and go after people, and then a bystander or whoever, police officer, just uses their firearm to stop the assailant, that is an offensive and defensive measure right there. So that's just how that is. It is both. It's 50-50. So if we're like, oh, well, I would only use my firearm. Well, you're just one person or you're a group of people. And I support that. If you feel safer with a firearm, that's fine. But you also have to think, I may be like, I'm super safe with my firearm. I always keep it unloaded when I'm not using it. I keep it locked up. I keep ammo separate. I follow all these rules. What if my wife divorces me? My children stop talking to me. My job then fires me. I then get a ticket on my car. I then crash my car and total it. I then finally get home and find out my mom and dad passed away. I then have overpaid bills. A lot of people have a breaking point. So we have to take that into account. If just like you work for the government, they check your finances, they check your personal life. If you want to own a firearm, I don't want it to be an invasive idea to, do all these checks on people. But if the government doesn't want someone to sell secrets, they look into you. They check your finances. They see, oh, does he have a bunch of debt? Could someone bribe him? What about his personal life? They're going to look into these things and they're going to be like, what, where did this person get a bunch of money? Did they sell secrets? Why is this person's depressed? This person, apparently, they'll look into your, online history, where are you talking to people online? Are you cheating on your significant other? Are you doing something suspicious? They look into that and they take that into account to what I call minority reporting. They see if you're a possible threat for the future. Now, obviously, that is not okay with a lot of people. And the people that choose to work in those sectors of the government accept that fact. And they're like, well, I have to accept this if I want to work here. I get it. But again, this doesn't stop you. If you're a good, honest person doing the right thing, I have nothing to hide. I'll give you anything. I'll let you access my phone. And if people are like, oh, well, that's an invasiveness of privacy. Well, I already give up privacy to work for the government. So what's wrong with if someone wants to own a firearm? It is a weapon or a defensive weapon. It's still a weapon. Let's be honest. I think it goes both ways. You can say, oh, well, I don't want invasion of privacy, but invasion of privacy could help deter, possibly selling or the acquiring of a firearm by someone who should never have one. Or if someone down the line, once a year you do a mental health evaluation, it's not perfect, but I think it's a start. I think it can lead to, again, doing the minority report method and seeing, hey, this person's not, they don't need to be arrested, but maybe they need to, have another evaluation or assessment. I think there's something there that can help people acquire, their firearms safely and professionally, as well as prevent people who should never be near a firearm. People that, if kids acquire a firearm from their parents to go hurt someone, that's also another major problem. There's no fix to that. If you're a good, God-fearing, whatever you want to call it, American, and you keep your firearm safe, locked up, like everything I said, but your child gets your key off you, they sneak it. I don't know, they want to play with your gun. They think it's cool. They want to show their friends. I don't know. How do you stop that? You don't. You have to look at it objectively. subjectively, everyone's like, well, it's my right, I want my guns. It's like, look, if you're into guns and you like it, you're going to want to be on the side of, I want my guns. If you don't like guns, you think they're dangerous, there's plenty of reasons to have that feeling, and they're all justified on both ends. Then you might go towards Democrat. But I think we have to, if you're going to look at it objectively, there is no fix. There are tons of problems with people. Again, a firearm sitting on a table is not going to walk around and commit acts of violence. A firearm sitting on a table with someone who has hate in their heart, hate in their mind, that person is more likely to pick up that firearm. And how do you know that? How do you understand that? You don't. You could be at a party with 10 people, and one out of those 10 could be unstable enough to be like, it'd be easy to pick that gun up and commit an act of violence. It sucks. And I think that's why we need a lot of professionalism, a lot of minds to come together. One person as president could not fix that. I don't care if you're Trump, Biden, George Bush, Obama. It just won't happen. You need a collective of people. That's why you need both sides to actually talk it out and not yelling, and actually sit down and write down these notes and say, here's the bullet points for each side. Here's pros and cons. Here's ideas that we can workshop and build together. That's what I think a good president would do. That's what I would do if I was to be a president of the United States. This is a bit of a longer video, and if people still want to put questions about certain things as ideas or truthful, objective opinions, or not opinions, because opinions can be subjective, but objective details or facts about something, I'm more than willing to express them. Feel free to leave them in comments below. And we'll see what happens. Again, I made that video. One person took it seriously and actually commented, hey, here's my things about firearms, here's details, facts, opinions. And I really appreciate that. And this one, same thing, as these videos go. I'm going to keep doing my fun stuff that I do. But again, if Trump could be, president, if we could put, if you remember, D's nuts on the ballot, and he actually got votes, which wasn't a person, it was just a joke. I think any normal citizen should be allowed to, make that effort as well if they truly are interested. So yes, this is a serious thing. Would I go for president? Absolutely. It's I don't want to, but I think a person who can be objective and be able to pull the two sides together is what will bring together people and unite them. Again, we're the United States. We're not the divided states. We're not, the split states. We are 50 states all together in one country as a superpower, not just because of military or government standing or wealth, but because we're the people are the superpower. So if you want to join me and watch me make these videos, I'll do my best to answer these questions, honestly, respectfully, and truthfully. And we also have to remember, I have no ties to anyone. I am just a normal worker like any of you that are watching. I am a normal guy. I don't have ties to a bunch of rich conglomerates. I don't have ties to a bunch of companies. I wouldn't have anything to lose / gain from being president. It would just be, this guy is here to answer our questions as best as he can, try to fix problems, because that's the only thing that presidents should do for 4 years, or 8 if they get elected again. Fix problems, understand the problems, express them to the people, help it all grow. So thank you. Hopefully that answers a little bit of the idea of, something like gun control that is a impossible task to actually, complete. So thank you again. Hope you have a good day. And if any more questions come in, I'll see you in the next video.